Foreword. Since my business life started, it has been quite busy in terms of both my projects and conferences. This intensity became even more enjoyable with Career Talks, a project that allowed me to meet with young people in particular. I was greeted with great interest in every university I visited. Every time I got together with them, the only instrument I used for what I was talking about was just a kind and sincere language. I know that sincerity is the most easily understood form of nonverbal communication. Young people have the energy and equipment to do anything. The only thing they lack is self-confidence and an example to guide them. This is exactly what I want to do. I wanted to be an example for these children, whose only concern is the future, and perhaps contribute to their beliefs. The first and most important condition on the road to success is to believe in yourself. None of you can change your past throughout your life, but the future is still in your hands. So whatever you want to do, believe it. Look ahead. May every new day be a hope-filled and successful start for you. Remember, a hopeless and aimless youth is a bad future. In this sense, all I wish is an end to all forms of violence. A war-free and fraternal world. I'm happy if I were able to carry a drop of water, like an ant to the mill of the future, for such a world. At this point, I cannot help but mention some names. First of all, to the cherished memory of my dear father, who passed away at a very young age, and then to my one and only mother, the light of my eyes laid under the feet of heaven, who became both a mother and father to us. Today, my dear brother and my everything, my dear Eyüp Yıldız, with whom we have established and grew Yıldızlar Promotion and Organization, which has become a brand both in the national and international arena, and who, as the general coordinator of our company, shed a clean brow for every job. My dear brother Süleyman Yıldız, who makes our every job easier with his ability to produce solutions and his everlasting joy. Şeymanur Yıldız, my precious wife, finance and accounting manager, who is responsible for the financial affairs of both my house and our company. On the occasion of this book, I would like to thank all of our colleagues with whom we are like family. Even if we are not from the same blood, I appreciate your patience. The 1st of June, 2016, Ankara, Hasan Yıldız, producer, director. A great deal of talent is lost to the world for want of a little courage. Sydney Smith. Who is Hasan Yıldız? Hasan Yıldız, who is originally from Erzurum and was born in Ankara in 1974 as the fourth child of a modest family, started his business life while continuing his education. His start in business life at a very early age is an indication of his entrepreneurial spirit. Yıldız, who showed himself in many fields in the years he blended his education with work experience, has climbed the steps to success one by one with his determination and hard work, cheerful and loving attitude, as well as effective communication. Yıldız, with his innovative vision as well as his foresight, followed the developments in the world and reflected the evaluations of the next century to his projects. One of the most successful businessmen in Turkey, both in national and international platforms today, Hasan Yıldız, the general manager of Yıldızlar Promotion Organization Co. Limited, has prepared TV programs, public service announcements, commercials, promotional and educational films, and has accomplished many successful projects in the field of organization and production. The program Gez Göz Arpacık, which is a Hasan Yıldız production and broadcast on TRT1 screens, is watched with pleasure at the same time every weekday and takes place in the memory of the masses. In 2010, City and University program, in which all the universities in the country were visited, and the cooperation between cities and universities were discussed, met with the audience with the pleasant presentation of Hasan Yıldız on the TRT News channel and received the Best Program of the Year award. Important programs: Career and Business Guide, New Trends, Tourism, Family Physician, Politics Dictionary, and Vakıfname, which were also broadcast on TRT News, took their place among Yıldız's successful productions: Caravan, Golden Works, In the Footsteps of the Sultans, and A City Story, which was selected as the Best Documentary Program of the Year in 2010, are among the long-running programs of the TRT Avaz channel, which addresses 27 countries and a geography of approximately 250 million people, from the Balkans to Central Asia, the Middle East and the Caucasus, were also among the popular and appreciated projects of the successful producer and director. Diplomatic Fault Lines, the foreign policy program, in which international crises are told on TRT Documentary Channel, and Devleti Aliye, prepared in drama style, were among programs by Hassan Yildiz that were watched with interest. Hassan Yildiz, who prepares projects with his unique style, principles, and original ideas in the media world, has been awarded many awards in different fields with these projects. Yildiz made a highly acclaimed presentation on the stage of TEDx Hacettepe University, held at Ankara's largest fair, event and congress center, ATO Congresium, on June 18, 2022. All the income of the great organization, which included politicians, academics, and many important names from the art world, was donated to Down Türkiye. Yıldızlar Promotion Organization, one of Turkey's leading companies in the organization sector, is the managing company of ATO Congresium. Yildiz, who has signed such important projects, continues to work in the philosophy of, "We are still at the beginning of everything. There are many more ways to overcome." And Yıldızlar Promotion Organization Co. Limited's expert staff and state-of-the-art equipment working 24/7 to produce brand new projects. Hassan Yildiz, who does not neglect to spare time for future generations in his busy work tempo, explains the basic philosophy of his business life with the following sentence: "No wind helps a ship without a root. We set out not to be the wind, but to tell young people which way to turn their sails." Beginning. Richard Bach's book The Seagull, one of the world's best-selling books that has been translated into many languages, reveals a life lesson specific to a seagull named Jonathan. Jonathan is a seagull that lives in a pack of seagulls, but moves differently from those in the pack, does not fight for food behind the boats like the others, and spends all his time flying. His parents are very uncomfortable with this idea. For this reason, John does not want to reveal his ideas about flying. One day, John leaves the pack for flying training. He tries very fast flights and turns. Unsuccessful, he decides to rejoin the herd and act like them. But this makes him very unhappy. One night, he remembers that seagulls cannot fly at night. He decides to go beyond his limits and be free. When he succeeds, he becomes a completely different being. The book is a masterpiece, which explains that applying the decisions made alone without being stuck with the conditions will definitely lead to results. It contains many lessons to be learned. I know we still have many young people in the flurry of seagulls trying to fly at night. I know because over the past few years, I have had the opportunity to look more closely into their eyes. They all think their story is the most unfortunate one. I try to be by their side. As a young businessman raised by this country, I feel a responsibility on myself, and I want to contribute something to the youth of this paradise of a country. Therefore, I have the opportunity to look at life through their eyes and share my experience in the field of business and media with the career talks that I attend as a guest of dozens of universities. I am telling the story of an organization that has gained an international reputation in its field, woven together with knowledge, self-confidence, and courage. I am greeted with great interest in every university I visit, because sincerity is a nonverbal form of communication that is easily understood by the other person. Young people have the energy and equipment to do anything. The only thing they lack is self-confidence and an example to guide them. This is exactly what I want to do. I want to be an example for these children, whose only concern is the future and to be able to contribute to their beliefs. I know that the first and most important step on the road to success starts with believing in yourself. Throughout your life, none of you can change your past, but the future is still in your hands. That's why I say whatever you want to do, believe it and look ahead. I really care about young people. As I stated in every platform, young people should have claims, dreams, and ideals if they are the foundation of the society they live in, and the guarantee of the future. A youth that does not break with itself, is at peace with its values, and always carries the concern of producing ideas, is also a beacon of hope for the future of Turkey, which is anxious to play a leading role in the world of the future. A hopeless and aimless youth means a bad future. At the end of each of my lectures, I see the sparkle in the eyes of these bright young fellows. I keep repeating, no wind helps a ship without a course, they say. I try not to be the wind, but to tell our young people which way to turn their sails. The essential thing to remember is this: where, in which position, or as who we live our lives today is the product of our past choices. Just like today, where we will be in the future and what kind of life we will lead will be shaped by the steps we take today. If you are one of those who think that life is not fair, you have to take these steps yourself and ensure justice yourself. Remember, as Henry Ford said, obstacles are those frightening things you see when you take your eyes off your goals. The first and only way to success is to believe in yourself. You will be able to fly as you leave the herd with a flurry of seagulls. This book in your hand will be a guide for you to learn how to do it. You are the future of the country. Do you know the story of Mahmud Sadi? Mahmud Sadi was a law student at Istanbul University in the years when, having brought powerful nations of the world to their knees, while fighting for liberation, the young republic was founded. That period was a period of serious shortages in all fields, especially in the economy. Turkish industry, except for a few large enterprises, consisted of small enterprises, which could not be compared with European countries. There was also no industrial export, except for mining, where foreign capital was active. All the rest of the country's need for industrial goods was met through imports. The Republic had already lost all the trained human resources of an entire empire that it inherited in protracted wars. The lack of qualified personnel, the low cultural and technological level, and the country's economic disorder were also the main problems of the economy. The country was struggling with problems and was trying to stand up. In those days, Mahmud Sadi saw an advert on the wall of the school where he was a student. In the advertisement it read, "Students will be sent to Europe." He smiled slightly, thinking this must be a joke or something. The country is in ruins. Everywhere is in ruins. Lausanne had just been signed. In this case, sending a student to Europe seemed not only impossible, but also an extreme luxury. But he still wanted to take a chance. At that time, the number of young people in higher education was very low, and 150 people applied. Only 11 people could be sent. As a result of the elections made by Mustafa Kemal Ataturk himself, Mahmud Sadi had the right to go to the University of Berlin and continue his education there. When it was time to go, Mahmud Sadi had to come to Sirkici station with a wooden suitcase and all of his poverty just like his country. However, he was very confused. On the one hand, he was responsible for going abroad for education with the money of a nation that had just come out of war, thinking, what if I fail? On the other hand, his personal concerns brought 1,001 questions to his mind. Will they forget me there? Will they send money? What would I do in a country I do not know? How do I get back? Just as he was about to give up on leaving, he heard a postman call his name on the platform. He had a telegram. When he opened the telegram, his astonishment would only increase. The telegram was from the president, Gazi Mustafa Kemal himself. Inside it read, "I send you as sparks. You must return as flames." Mahmud Sadi was very angry with himself because he thought of giving up on going and staying. After a very successful education life, he really did return to his country like a flame. He even established the Istanbul University General and Human Physiology Institute to raise new generations and become its first president. Mahmud Sadi, who took the surname Irmak after the surname Law, was none other than Prime Minister ordained Professor Dr. Sadi Irmak. In addition to being responsible to yourself throughout your life, you also have different responsibilities. For example, you are responsible to your families. If you could only observe the 40-week process from the time you settled in your mother's womb, you can understand how big this responsibility is. You owe it to the schools you studied at, to your teachers, and more importantly, to your country. Therefore, there are things you have to do for each of our taxpayers. But do not be intimidated by this. You are only responsible for producing. You will produce knowledge, you will produce technology, and you will produce art. In short, you will make a material from whatever you have learned by processing that ore. You will be surprised to realize that sometimes even the very simple things you do are a favor to your country. As someone who has traveled to many countries, I would like to share an observation. In no country in the world is there a nation that returns the excess sugar served with the tea to the waiter who brought it, because those who know the value of absence best in existence are those who have seen shortage. Don't close your doors. Open them wide open. Open your heart to young people. Hold their hands so that we become a stronger and bigger Turkey. Hasan Yildiz, TEDx Hacettepe University Speech, 18th of June, 2022. We do not need anything except for one thing, to be hard-working. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. It's not what we read, it's what we learn that stays in our mind. It is not what we intend, but what we do that makes us useful. It is not our dull wishes, but our lifelong struggle that defines our courage. Henry Ward Beecher. One does not discover new lands without consenting to lose sight of the shore for a very long time. André Gide. Pearls don't lie on the seashore. If you want one, you must dive for it. Chinese proverb.